Welcome back to the Arise interview. I'm Charles Onyegolu. Now, you may not know this, depending on how old you are, but before the advent of Nollywood, Nigeria's burgeoning film industry, there was the stage theatre. Pioneer theatre practitioners like Herbert Ogunde are credited with starting Nigeria's modern professional theatre in the 1940s. They were followed by notable playwrights like Wole Soyinka, who in the late 50s and early 60s developed the stage drama. It paved the way for the establishment of proscenium theatre groups across Nigeria, including the famous Eastern Nigeria theatre group of John Ekwere, as well as the likes of Pepe Clark and all the rest of them. It all culminated in the spectacular Nigerian arts extravaganza known as Festac 77, which gave an international platform to theatre writers and actors to showcase their work. But it was short-lived, overtaken by the movie industry, and many theatre practitioners simply disappeared. More than 40 years later, everyday theatre is making a serious comeback in Nigeria. But how sustainable is it in the face of the strength of Nollywood? Well, for more on this, I'm joined now in the studio by Jerry Aroja, owner of the Aroja Royal Theatre here in Abuja. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Yeah. Is theatre making a strong comeback in your assessment?
Maybe I'll add ER to that and say a stronger comeback. I mean,
led by people like yourself.
Yes, and across Nigeria, and Lagos especially, and Abuja is following in its store. And the revival has been on for a couple of years now. We are at that juncture where it is no longer people should come asking people to come see theater, but at the point where theater lovers now ask, what are you doing next? When we all started, we put up productions and you are looking at empty chairs and, but the show must go on. But now we are, that, very stable situation where you can at least beat your chest to say, oh, if I put on this production, I know I can get X, Y, Z number of people who are regulars in the audience. And so that's where we are. And so it's a forceful comeback, for theater in Nigeria.
So tell us about the Aroja Royal Theatre. You're the owner, and you've got quite a good mix of instrumentalists, actors, dancers, singers, that sort of thing.
Yeah, sure. Aroja Royal Theatre actually was established back in 2007. And I would say, as a child of necessity, that was at the point where Abuja is at the mercy of other theater producers from outside of Abuja, like Just Repertory Theater and some other company in Lagos. So we only get to see theater whenever they bring their productions to Abuja. And so some of us who also have, theater background, and I was in the media, as a journalist, and felt like, oh, what are we doing in Abuja if we cannot put up? And there are, loads of, actors, artists around Abuja who are looking for what to do. The universities churn them out, every now and then with nothing to do. So a couple of us, came together then, which unfortunately includes my elder brother who passed on just last week.
When you said unfortunately, I was going to say, is it unfortunate that you're working with your brother? But my condolences.
Who passed on last week, and we decided to set up, the Aroja Royal Theatre, which started as Jessad Productions, and then we got registered. And our very first professional outing was actually in 2010. When we staged the late Ken Sarowiwa's play, the late Onokaba Adinoyi Ojo's play titled The Killing Swamp, which is a dramatic, representation of the last moment of Ken Sarowiwa.
Well, that would have been fascinating to watch.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, you should bring it back and send me an invitation. I'll come and see it.
Or
let me know when you're.
We are looking at doing that because, like mentioned,
because obviously theatre more popular now than then, so you're likely to get a bigger audience.
We are more popular now than then, and the playwright, who is late now, also happens to be our patron, and so we were just talking about bringing back one of his plays.
I think that would be absolutely fascinating.
So that was how we started, and it was a rough journey, a very rough one, where you have to put up productions and you have to watch it yourself, literally.
I like that.
Watch the
You
production
staged it for yourself.
Yeah, for ourselves.
And then you'd have to pay all the actors.
Exactly. And, you have a situation where you have more bodies, more actors on stage than the audience watching the play. We have had a situation, of course, where I had to sell a car to pay up artists when we had a production that so that's how rough the journey of of reintroducing.
And yet you were sitting there and watching Nollywood going from strength to strength, and it's a similar art form, but different in the sense that obviously Nollywood is movies, and therefore it's more transportable, more portable,
and which is exactly where we now found ourselves with the with the disruption by COVID, where we had now moved digital. So as against some 5-6 years ago, where we staged performances just for the few guys around on site, we now have the opportunity to take advantage of the digital platform. So
you can reach a bigger audience.
So we now have what we call the phygital theater, like what we are doing tomorrow, where there are audience members seated, and then there are others watching from wherever in the world.
So tell us what you're doing tomorrow.
What we are doing tomorrow is what we call the Independence Play. Last year, actually the first time we had that was in 2006. We felt that, okay, as a theater whose interest is to use the art form as the theater as a means for social force, social engagement, we felt like on a yearly basis we want to have a production that speaks to the nation, that addresses some very basic issues. Yes, all of our production does that because we said we are an edutainment theater outfit and not particularly an entertainment.
Right.
Of course, you get entertained when you see them, but we are more interested.
There's an educational element to
it. So we felt like on a yearly basis, we want to begin to have what we call the Independence Play. And so that we piloted it in 2016, not very successful. We started again. We had the opportunity of working under a project by MacArthur Foundation. So we were able to start last year. And so we had a play last year called Cataclysm. And this year we're having a play titled What the Hunter Saw. What the hunter.
The hunter.
What the hunter saw.
Right, okay.
So that's the title of the play we are staging tomorrow as the second edition of the Independence Play.
And is that going to be done digitally, or is that going to be, is that somewhere you can go and see it?
Right. So there is a physical on site somewhere at Area 10, at the Arts and Culture Center at Area 10, and of course on Zoom and YouTube simultaneously. So this is going to happen every year. So the idea of it is, celebrate Nigeria, but speaking the truth to power, telling people this is what we, the people, feel, and that is what we are, So each of the play we pick for the Independence Play show is such that speaks to the nation, that speaks to our leaders, that speaks to everybody on the, it's not just about the leadership,
So tell us about this play then. What is it? just describe what it is to us, and
What the Hunter Saw is a play written by Makinde Adesewo on our request, and it's a play that used the personnel, of Wole Soyinka to talk to leaders. For as many people that would look at that play on the surface.
And he does talk to people, to leadership in this country, doesn't he?
Exactly.
He doesn't shy away from that.
While the play itself looks, like being critical of Wole Soyinka himself, it was more like an experimental thing, so a safe landing. So what we have done is to bring Wole Soyinka, a Nobel laureate, and then a Swedish poet, a Nobel laureate, and bring them together. They never met in real life. But what we are looking at includes the issue of honesty in government, openness, transparency, and of course the need for us to have good governance, for leaders to open themselves up for accountability, to open themselves up to the people, to know what they are doing. That is what. But we did this through the lens of.
So it's a form of a satire, is it?
Yes, it's a satire.
Right.
And a very deep one that is also a mismatch of some of Wole Soyinka's work himself. You get to see a replay of plays like poem like Abiku and plays
I remember
like,
that Abiku,
yeah,
brilliant.
Abiku, and then Death and the King's Horseman.
Okay, well, it all sounds jolly fascinating, and I hope people come to see it, and I will make an effort to attend. Jerry Aroja, owner of the Aroja Royal Theatre here in Abuja. Thank you very much.
Jerry Adesewo.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people get to call it Jerry Aroja.
So that's not really your surname,
my surname,
but you own the
Adesewo.
theatre
I own
company.
the theatre.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. That's it for this edition of The Arise interview. Join us again tomorrow from me and the entire team here in Abuja. Bye-bye, and thank you for watching.